Welcome to Real Outdoors. Captain Adam here. We got a great episode for you today. Awesome captains. Can't wait for you to meet them. Big thanks to Captain Chucks and to Ludington Beverage for their great sponsorship and making this all happen. Hit that subscribe button. Help us out. We need some more subscribers. Share all of our posts and like this video. Leave a comment if you like. We'd love to hear from you. So let's meet those captains.
Hi, my name is Joel Devries, boat fin scout from St. Joseph, Michigan.
Hi, my name is Jeremy Barber. The boat name is Innuendo out of Grand Haven, Michigan.
Hi, I'm Chris Peplinski with Pure Chaos Pro Fishing, and I am out of Onekama, Michigan.
All right, for our first topic here, we're going to do set up a scenario. We're out fishing, and we are transitioning out of the morning bite. You're looking for some fish. What's your next move? Where do you what changes do you make? What speed, direction, all of those sorts of things, baits. What changes would you make right after the morning bite? So before we get started, we got to think Bud Light Seltzer Lemonade. I'm going to try mine right now. Chris, you better try yours too.
Might as well.
All right. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Oh, that's really good, actually.
So Joel, you wanna tell us what you would do? Now we'll just say you have to stay out a little longer. You can't just go in after the morning bite.
I can't.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a two-part answer, Adam. Because am I fishing my home port, or am I fishing a port that I may be at a tournament or not as familiar with? So I'll give you the home port answer first of all, and that is that it's very likely that we would actually slide out and convert to more lake trout fishing, or more of a lake trout program, where we may be in the morning fishing with one or two rods committed to the lake trout program, and then we might have more of the spread committed to any sort of a silverfish bite. As that time moves on, we're going to commit more of the rods over to the lake trout program. And actually concentrate. And more than likely, it's probably going to be sliding to a deeper water column as well when we do that. So, for example, when we're here in Ludington and we're just starting to learn what's happening, we're here fishing tournaments. Today we went offshore. We went west. It's always easy to say, when in doubt, go west, until you find/figure something out that may work for you, whether it be temperature, whether it be current, whether it be watercolor. As you go west, you look for those changes that might offer you the opportunity to catch some fish at a point when you're not likely to catch fish in a shallow water or in a morning bite program. So those would be the basics that we would convert over to at that time frame.
All right. Jeremy, you got a...
Yeah, I mean, I think pretty similar stuff for us, but it depends on how many silverfish are around, honestly. I mean, if there's a lot of silverfish around, we may not dedicate 3 rods to trout fishing. If there's no silverfish or a few silverfish, we might put our trout divers down at that point and start trout fishing. Or if there's not a good lake trout bite, we might go offshore and fish steelhead and coho and other things to try to keep some action going for them.
All right, Chris.
Well, they pretty much summed it up. What I like to do is when I'm on the bank, I like to watch for trout, obviously early in the morning. Check it out, and if I'm seeing trout there, I'll fish silvers for a while. And then I always like to see on boat traffic too. There's a lot of boat traffic around. You can kind of watch everyone start petering away, and a lot of times you can still get that midday king bite still on the bank, and also fish trout. So you can put 1 or 2 trout rods down, still keep the action coming in and out. Catching a few fish here and there. And then around that 10 o'clock range, a lot of times they will feed again, and you will get a few more adult or salmon bites really right in there and not have to move offshore.
So if you were going to slide offshore, like what kind of changes do you make to your troll? What kind of changes do you make in your bait selections? Those sort of things. You guys want to try
so
that?
what we would do is, obviously we would probably look more to a spoon program. We would move away from flasher fly type situation. We'll go more to a spoon program. We would actually likely pick up speed. We may do some zigzag troll to try to entice a bite and look for a slow bite or a fast bite based on where you're at in your turn on zigzag. But those are some of the things we would try right away. But definitely pick up speed, convert more to spoons, and see what happens from there, and try to build a pattern once you see some activity on what you're doing.
Yeah, I think similar for us, but I'll a lot of times really lean on my high divers at that point. So high sun, mid morning, I'm most of the time I'm running meat rigs on my high divers, and I'll just keep dumping them back as the morning goes on. And sometimes I'll get them back even 300, 400 feet, get them away from the boat. And a lot of times you'll catch a couple kings midday after the bite's kind of over, getting away from the boat a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think getting your, I think that high diver is a deadly weapon once the sun's up high. One thing to consider though is if you're fishing your high diver out, 400 or 500 feet, watch out for your coppers.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you're going to take a bite on that high diver. It's going to come up outside your copper, and it's normally under and outside your copper.
Yeah.
So you got to get that copper in, get the board off, and then manage the tangle before it gets too terrible.
Mm-hmm. I think you brought that up in some of the other ones, and it's true. We try really hard not to let the tangle happen. If we see that it's going to be a potential problem, deal with it ahead of time.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Rip them in.
Yeah, we hit a fish today on a low diver, and it came up outside the high diver. So I was pretty sure it was going to be outside my 300 copper, and I got the 300 copper. I got the board off, and it was tangled, but we got the fish. Mm-hmm. And I think if you watch it tangle and let it tangle, and then see the board move, you're probably not going to get that fish.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much better.
No, yeah,
It just gets worse.
They don't. In my experience, rotators, spin doctors, once they start rotating around another line, nothing really stops them.
Yep.
It's quite amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think those are really some good pointers there. I think maybe hit a little bit more on if there's a lot of kings around, and I think you guys are the same way. Once the bite slows, if you hit kings and maybe you hit them both ways or you hit both directions, you're probably not going to leave. I mean, you're probably going to stick it out. You might only get 3 or 4 more bites, but they're going to be big bites if you get them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And, a lot of times those fish will stay in there, but pressure is kind of the dictating factor many times. In Ludington, we fish pressured fish a lot. I mean, we have a lot of boats working the same exact part of the water column in the same areas. And, a lot of times once those boats scatter, those fish will come back into the bank, like Chris was saying, but it doesn't always happen. And sometimes they move shallower, sometimes they move deeper, and, you got to pick one or the other. It's a hard way. It's a hard decision, but this comes back to probably communication as well, and having your phone and finding out what guys around you are doing or guys ahead of you or behind you, that kind of thing. Like today we were fishing on a north troll, and I called Joel, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to try the south or not. And I called a couple people that were doing the south by me, and they were hitting fish. So we spun it around, and it didn't work, but we spun it around, Yeah, we gave it a shot. I mean, a lot of it's trial and error, and there's a lot of error involved.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was easy, I would have came in with 10 4-year-olds today and felt really great.
Yeah,
but that's not the case. But tomorrow, try it again,
It always seems like the bite is where you're not, right?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, they call you from 170 and you're in 90. You get to 170 and the guys in 90 start catching, and
and that's a time management thing too. In Ludington, 170 is not very far from 90, but a lot of places 100's a long ways from 90.
Yeah.
So, how much time is it going to take to get there? Is it worth trying it? Are people hitting in between?
Yeah.
So those are a lot of good scenarios, a lot of good ideas on what to do. Does anyone have any questions in the audience?
How do you pick your bait based on the weather, whether it's cloudy or sunny?
All right, so that's a really good question. Does anybody want to dive right into that?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a cliche question because, they always say dark days, dark baits. And that's a simple but an easy rule to live by, and it's probably good advice. Think about the fact that you've got low light conditions, so darker baits.
Yeah, we run a lot of UV stuff, a lot of that, and we kind of treat deeper and dark, deeper and cloudy similar. So like if I'm going to push something down deeper, I want a little bit more flash. I want a little bit more glow. You know, as the morning goes on, I like a lot more silver. I like a lot more shiny in my spread. Like with the moonshines, I like to go to the half moon series where you have a little bit more going on, or you know, the RV, especially when it's cloudy. I like the RV.
Yeah, I think those RV baits have really kind of changed how I fish because they're pretty versatile. I think you get the glow for the early situation, and then you have that flash on the UV, and they're pretty much an all-day bait a lot of times.
Yeah, it's nice that you can kind of leave them out and feel confident in them for sure that they'll keep going. You know, I like when it's cloudy though. You know, I also like the yak wart frog, and that thing's like, you know, satin finish and white back. There's no flash, but that kind of works too. I think you'll find patterns a lot of times with those colors. It seems like the kings will remain higher in the water column when it's overcast. You don't have to go as deep. You know, after the morning bite, a lot of times if we are going to stay on the bank, instead of fishing, you know, if I'm in 90 feet of water, I'm going to have baits at 80 feet down instead of keeping my baits right in the thermocline or just below.
Yep.
I think watercolor plays a role too.
It does.
It does.
If it's gin clear versus if it's green, you know, that's going to change what you select, I think.
Yeah, and a lot of times by sliding offshore, you're going to be changing that water color as well. So a lot of times that water will clear up as you get out there.
And one thing I like to do too is when it does get a little cloudy or it is darker most of the day, I like to switch like those spinnies into the glow blades instead of white blades. You know, I remember one time in a tournament we said if it doesn't glow, it don't go, and it was one of those things where if you didn't have a glow blade, we weren't getting bid on it. And it's just that minute little change.
Yeah, we have some glow UV blades. We call them the glove.
Yeah.
And anytime it's overcast, and you know, we'll push those even 150 foot down and take kings on them pretty regularly. And a lot of times with those blades, you don't need as much glow, I think, in your meat rig itself.
No.
It seems like it brings them in. They're going to take a look at it, and that's really all you're looking for.
Yep.
So yeah. All right. Well,
Question.
Yeah, that was a very good question. I think we kind of covered the basis here on our programs, but I think that one thing that you heard in all those answers is that there's a lot of other variables that come into play. You know, is there a lot of silverfish? Was the bite strong? Did it really like abruptly stop? You know, is it overcast? Is deep water close to where you're at? Is there lake trout where you're at? So those are all kind of things that you're always kind of keeping in the back of your mind. You're always trying to basically figure out what's going to produce the most bites per hour after that morning bite. And most people, I think, would say a lake trout bite is you would need 3 lake trout bites for every 1 silver bite for you to target lake trout. But a lot of times you might fish from 7:30 in the morning until 11 in the afternoon and only fish for silverfish. You might never get bit. You might get 1 bite. You might get 2 bites. Where if you drop some lake trout stuff down, you could get 3 bites an hour instead. So, I mean, it's definitely, and if you're going to tournament fish and you're out practicing or you're just fun fishing, but if you're going to get into tournaments, you have to learn how to catch lake trout and you have to learn how to catch fish offshore. So you kind of practice when you're out there, when you're out having fun, just kind of treat it like a little mini tournament and push yourself like, let's go catch 2 fish offshore and just, see how you do it. So a lot of that stuff plays role and also fish bite on a clock and it's different all the time. And if you have a good idea that, the lake trout are done biting at a certain time, you'll see these windows where certain fish will bite. A lot of times offshore, it's the same way. They'll bite from 9 in the morning till 11 and then they just kind of peter out. A lot of times offshore, they don't bite well right before it gets dark. It just kind of dies on you. So
Or cloudy days
as well. Yeah. And if it's flat calm, it's not as easy offshore.
No.
I mean, if it's rough offshore and you have a good, you're comfortable in your boat to be out there, you can catch a lot of fish out there. It's a lot of fun. Nothing better than watching a steelhead swim in a wave way up there. Oh, that's a good one. You don't know if that's a fish or the wave. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. Once again, thanks to Bud Light Seltzer Lemonade. Very good. You guys should try these. Wonderful summer drink. This could be the new dock drink maybe for the Fin Scout.
Oh yeah.
You get some for Beaver.
We're always looking for an improvement.
Beaver
You guys need more drinks.
We do need more drinks.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, and I hope this helps you catch a few more fish.